Hi, and welcome to I Am It Is. I am Kindred, and it is this slut.
The sluttiest.
Stephen Oliver. Stephen, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. What's this then, slut?
What's this a slut? What's this a slut?
What's this then, slut?
What's this a slut?
All right. No. What's this then, slut? No, so Stephen, you and I have met in Mardi Gras. It was very momentary.
Yes.
It was a moment that I was actually marching for the first time with the Homo sapien float in the Mardi Gras. And I was holding up a sign, which, do you remember the sign?
Yeah, don't say you're sorry, show you are.
Exactly. And that day I had a very clear message, and it's the reason that I wanted Stephen to join me today. Also, because Stephen is an outright slut. No.
A sexy one.
You are. Sexy slut. No, in all seriousness, if children are watching, you best, censorship, I'm not sure how that works on the internet these days. It's still free.
God, they'll protect the children or go overboard.
Oh. So, Stephen, you've had a career on television. You were in the ABC Black Comedy, and you still work and write, and you do a lot of poetry, and you're a slut.
I was waiting for it.
But you have really done a lot, and you've even been nominated for a Logie.
Oh, the show was nominated for a Logie, yeah.
Well, you wrote, and we're starting that particular show. Can you give me a little bit of background about Stephen Oliver as the young Stephen growing up, and how you got to be a part of that?
Young Stephen, well, my hometown is Cloncurry. It's a small town near Mount Isa. Do you know where that is? Up in northwest Queensland, mining town.
Oh, they're drilling it out of the earth there.
Yeah, it's huge there in Mount Isa. But yeah, it's a small town of about 2,500 people. Yeah. And from there, we moved to Townsville when I was about 8. So I grew up in Townsville, so Cloncurry, Townsville I call home. And then I went to Perth to study music theatre. I studied with the Aboriginal Music Theatre Training Program, which was a course being run, and then from that I got into the Music Theatre Certificate course at WAPA, and then the Music Theatre BA course, which I didn't finish because I'd already been studying by 3.5 years, so
that's enough.
I left.
And writing, was that something that you did all the time and as you're growing up?
It's funny, right? Yeah, writing, it's always been something I've done. I've always been I even remember in high school with my history teacher failing me because I got the history wrong, but she said the story was very imaginative. Yeah, but I've always written in poems. I've always done that, and it's kind of funny, but I think there was a lot of focus because I used to dance all the time. I was actually a tap dance teacher as well. Oh. So
did you fall in the sink?
Did I fall in the sink?
Oh. Is that
the tub?
Yeah, well, look, I'm not a comedian, clearly.
Yeah, that joke sunk. But that was bad.
What's this then, slut?
Kind of tell a joke. But yeah, from there, I was going to be a dancer, and so that was kind of the focus. But then when I started doing music theatre, people were like, oh, you can act as well. And so then, I kind of started doing the acting thing, and but I was still always writing. And then a friend of mine one day at a theatre company in Brisbane, she said, I want you to write a play for us. And I'd never written a play before, ever. I'd just always written things like I'd written like monologues or scenes or, kind of stuff, but never an actual play. So I did that, and that kind of started me on my writing journey. Because then I got the email saying they were looking for blackfellas to do a workshop at the ABC to shoot a pilot for a TV show. And yeah, and that was black comedy.
And you wrote some of the material for?
Yeah, well, first season I wrote about 3 episodes.
Wow.
77 minutes I think I wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of stuff to get out, I think.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That happens when, you come from a group of people that perhaps have been oppressed for a lifetime.
Two groups of people have been
Yeah. And talk about that. So 2 groups of people. So who was actually represented in black comedy? Who
was represented?
Yeah.
Probably more so with the Aboriginal side of things, but thankfully I also got to chuck in the gay side of things. So.
Yeah, I know. Power to you. So, one thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if anyone that's watching this has also noticed, but there isn't a lot of Aboriginal people on television, or actually in a lot of our kind of mainstream media or anywhere, really. There's not a lot, and I feel that that's something that's perhaps been intentional to some degree. Would you agree? And is there much access for people to actually be able to get out there and do what they want?
Yeah, well, I think I think there's this kind of mentality. I mean, if you look at how many Aboriginal people are in sport,
Yeah.
you know, like in the AFL, I think it's 1 in every 11
Yeah.
person is Indigenous. And could you imagine if you did that with TV?
Yeah.
You know how our TV screens would look.
Yeah.
But I think
a lot more
it's
colourful.
Well, a lot more colourful.
Wouldn't
Yeah,
they?
yeah. A lot more
Vanilla
sexy.
colour. Yeah.
But I think it was, you know, it's kind of come from a place where people also didn't know how to write.
Yeah.
So, because, it was, you know, it was always white writers who were writing these stories. So, Aboriginal people just obviously didn't either pop in their head, or they didn't know how to tell a story, or if they did tell a story, it was their perception rather than a reality.
Yeah.
So you'd get this kind of grotesque kind of, you know, example on your screen. And I think, you know, like, power to the ABC. I'm really thankful. I'm really glad that my first TV show was with the ABC.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because,
Go
well,
ABC.
in Cloncurry, that's all we had growing up was ABC. So,
Yeah.
you know, I used to watch a lot of the old Ginger Rogers First Day movies back in the day. But,
He's gay.
yeah. But, that's what put it.
Yeah. No, well,
What's the same?
I think you were saying a lot.
I was saying a lot. Oh, yeah, I was just saying, no, with the ABC, like, if we didn't have the ABC, we wouldn't be
definitely.
seeing
Power to that.
half the content.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Jonathan, did you want to bring over a little cocktail? And just before I do that, Stephen, one of the things I'm very passionate about is getting out and spreading the message for a diverse range of human beings in being human. And I feel in this country ashamed and really, really, really angry at some of the ways and things, and how do I say this? I'm very angry at the way our Aboriginal people are treated and respected from a high level. I don't think individuals as such are necessarily in agreement with that, and I think that there is a lot of turning and mental shifting in that regard. But there still is a lot for us to do as a country. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, I often talk about, it's funny how people get with the plebiscite, that a plebiscite would cause mental distress to the LGBTI community.
Yeah.
And yet, it's so commonplace. They don't understand that every time there's like an incident with Adam Goods, or the incidents with boys getting tortured every time there's a death in custody, the young 14-year-old boy, we as a people go through this mental anguish. Like, there's times I can't even look at things because I'm one of those people that's head thinks a lot. So, you know, we go through this kind of mental anguish all the time, whether it's the Australian publishing a joke about us and then it not being found racist or anything, you know. We have these so many times this year already where we've gone through things. And the thing is that because when those things happen and then you see all these people, these panellists talking about us.
Don't you love the panellists?
Oh, I love the panellists.
Oh,
yeah,
give me a panel anytime. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's when they're always talking about us. They're never including
Oh,
us in
you're
the
never on the
conversation.
panel. That's what I love the
we're never
best.
on the panel. Yeah,
yeah, you know.
So they offer
thank you,
the
Jonathan.
thoughts.
Yeah,
and again,
yeah.
it's the perception. Oh,
There we are,
thank
Stephen.
you.
Thank you. What's this then?
So that's the Toff Daiquiri, and that's the one night in Johannesburg.
Ooh.
Enjoy.
Did you have one night in Johannesburg, sweetheart? Yeah, no, I totally agree. And look, it's, you know, what I do like about black comedy is it did actually add a comical sense to quite a serious issue. You know, it just added a different light to things. And I think Australians by nature, in all of us, are very inclusive, do legitimately have a good sense of humour. And I really felt that it was a really good way to kind of, you know.
We do, and I think it was very, you know, it was very black humour, but it was very Aussie as well. And you know, and I'm glad we got it because I did a documentary recently where it's talking about humour, and I think we've become so Americanized in a lot of ways that we've kind of, this Australian identity, it's now like we're becoming a little brother to America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
that ain't a brother I want to have.
No, exactly.
You're the kind of brother I want to have.
You're the sister I want to have. The titter and the butter.
Well, you know.
But, yeah, no, with the, you know, I just think it was just so good to do. And so, and you know, the people, like, because when we were filming it, you wonder, okay, is it going to translate? But the people on set, so it was translated to black, white, Asian people, English people, French people.
It's comical genius. It's fantastic. You know, it resonated with a lot of people. A lot of people connected to it, and I really thought it gave us, you know, some characters on television we weren't otherwise seeing. And, you know, well done to Miranda Tapsell from Love Child. And seeing, you know, somebody get up there and win a Logie. God bless, you know.
Exactly. So,
and representing Aboriginal people on television, which I think is amazing. You
Yeah.
know, there's so many young Aboriginal kids out there that are struggling, just as a lot of children are in all sorts of walks of life. But, you know, we're just not doing enough. And in fact, we're probably not even aware of some of the issues that are occurring. And I think that's half the problem. I mean, I've done some research and found out that in Northern Territory alone, the police don't even necessarily need paperwork to incarcerate somebody. And I believe the incarceration level for Aboriginal people is so high in this country for, in comparison...
It's 80% in the Northern Territory.
80%.
So we're 3% of the Australian population, but we're 27% of the jail population. And in the NT, it's 80% jail population.
And children, the stolen generation hasn't left us.
No, kids actually being taken away at faster rates. Now, I used to work for the legal service, and we would have people ring up before the baby was even born. They were waiting there to take the child. So it's crazy. And people, you know, they kind of don't understand, well, what must the mother be doing? What they wouldn't be just taken from reason. And no, of course, like, there's going to be something about what people need to understand is that if people already have perceptions or stereotypes of Aboriginal people, and they go in there with that mentality, then, you know, those people are being judged from a biased point already. I was pulled up 6 times in 5 months by police, like just walking down the street. I got I wish. It's funny how it's changed since black comedy, but I got that frustrated once because I always used to go to that Northgate train station. And when the police were there, and this is peak hour traffic, but I dreaded it because I could just feel their eyes zone in on me. And, you know, I'd get to the top and it's like, oh, but, you know, have you paid your fare? Where'd you go? And so, you know, I just shouted. And then we got to one point where I just got sick of it and I rolled my eyes as I did it. And he goes, hey, I'm just doing my job. And I said, yeah, but why in this sea of people is it always me getting put up? You know, why is it me? And he's like, I'm not... And then actually, like, I got really emotional. And I said, I'm a human being and I deserve to be treated with respect that you give to everybody else. And I think they were kind of shocked because I think they were waiting for me to be angry, but I think they just saw that I was really hurt. And I was just, God's sake, I try to do everything right and it's still not good enough for you people. Like, well, what more have I got to do?
Yeah. You take my soul, you take my spirit, now you want to fucking take my fare? Like, be fair. Like, come on. What are we doing as a country? I mean, what can we do more as a country, Stephen? What? I mean, there are some people out there with the mentality, oh, you know, it's not my fault. It wasn't me. I didn't come over in the boat. I didn't come to this country and I didn't take this land. You know, what do you say to that? I mean, good on you.
I think people need to understand that they might not have necessarily done anything, but they still benefit from what happened. So if you benefit from the blood of a people, you know, and it's not, you know, I had a young guy email me and he asked me, you know, for reconciliation, and I really love that, you know, he approached me and said, oh, we're having a reconciliation thing at work and what can we do? And I said, well, look, I can't tell you what to do. I don't really know what you should do, but what I will say is that if you're doing something that's making you feel warm and fuzzy, then you're probably doing it wrong, because the truth is, there's going to be things in our history that's uncomfortable. There's going to be hard places we have to go. And I said, but you know, but we need to go to those places. And when we do go to those places, don't make it about guilt. Don't think about this feeling guilty, because when you make it about guilt, you make it about yourself. And it's not about you, it's about this bigger issue that needs to be fixed. And, you know, the thing with guilt, when people say, oh, well, you know, you're making me feel guilty, and it's like, well, I can't make you feel guilty. Only truth can make you feel guilty. So if you're feeling guilty, then that's your issue that you need to work out with that. And you need to look within yourself instead of deflecting it back onto me.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think it's not so much about whether I was the one that sat over in the ship and I was the one that did this or that. The thing is, the information is there, the statistics are there, the facts are there, the reality is there. It is about educating, it's about engaging, and it's about empowering individuals. It's about getting out and speaking out. You know, it's a group of people who have been marginalised, and there is a lot more of other people here on this land who could actually get out, speak out, and make sure they work hand in hand, because I honestly believe it is us collectively working together as Homo sapiens, not homosexuals, not as Aboriginals, not as Asian, not as Torres Strait Islanders. It's respecting one another as human beings and getting out there and making sure that collectively we stand our ground and we seek the rights of humans. I mean, it's
our humanity. It's finding our humanity. It's about, it's about our common ground.
It's
when people say to me, I know what happened in the past was terrible. And it's like, well, no, you don't, because you're not showing me any emotion when you're saying that. You're just saying it so flippantly.
And Stephen, this is a personal question. I hope you don't mind me asking. But was there ever a point? Was there ever a point when are you gay?
I'm happy.
Because what are you doing after this?
Catching a plane.
Oh, funny. I didn't tell you yet, but I booked you a ticket too. I mean, me. I'm sitting with you, babe.
How many cocktails have you
had? The question is, was there... And I just want to know this because I heard an Aboriginal person say this to me, and this really hurt me. But they said there was a point in time where they were growing up in this country where they actually wished they weren't Aboriginal. They wished they were white. They felt like it would be easier.
I went to high school. High school, you really did. Carl Vanderkuyp, and I felt that. But there was a thing of the high school. You get it really pointed out to you about being black and that you're the other and that you're different. And, you know, people always go, what do you always go about black stuff all the time? And it's like, well, you keep reminding us. Like, you want to stop going on about shit. Stop doing blackface.
Yeah.
Stop doing all this stupid shit. Like, really, if you want us to get over it, take the Union Jack off the Australian flag, because you're showing us the very symbol of, you know, and if we want to be Australia, well, let's get off England's titty. Let's be Australia. Let's be
that milk's
us.
sour anyways, bitch. From one queen to another. It ain't nice. It ain't nice.
It was really funny when me and my sister, we were in London trying to get photos with the Union Jack in the background.
Well, honey, you should be sitting on that throne because you are a queen to the man. Now, as we said before, I'd really love it if, in closing, you could actually recite Hades Head for us. But just before we do, I'd really love to give you a gift. I actually have a friend here, Callum. Callum, would you like to just make your way around? We've got a gift for you. I give a gift to every guest for being a Homo sapien ambassador for the people. And what I mean by that is, it's a human being that promotes and helps people in being human. We've actually made you a gun-shy stole. So, Callum.
What? Hi, honey.
Hi, what's this slut?
Oh, I love it.
Do you love?
I love it.
This is for you. This is from Gunshy, an ethical designer here in Melbourne who wanted to give you your very own Stephen Oliver Gunshy stole. This is for you. Look how beautiful you are.
I love it in there. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I want to do. There's so much. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to do videos with this and send it to you.
Yeah. Well, honey, you know, what kind of video?
Oh, honey, it'll all be fun. Believe me, it'll all be fun.
God, you give her a big set of balls and look at her go.
They'll be swinging around.
All right. In closing, would you mind reciting the Hades Head?
No. Yeah. No worries.
For us, that'd be great. Thank you.
Am I do the camera?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, serious face. Hate, he said, was in my heart. Hate, he said, drove us apart. Hate, he said, to let it go. Hate, he said. But he did not know that what I had inside of me was a sadness born of empathy. That because I did not celebrate, it did not mean I was full of hate. I asked him to just try and see through my eyes the tragedy of dispossession, of the pain, the hurt, of the red of blood that stained this earth. I mourn for the lives that were lost. I mourn for what this country cost. I mourn for how we came to be, for the end does not justify the means. It's in the past, he said, move on. Why? Mourn for something so long gone. I looked at him and I came to say, do you think we should forget about Anzac Day? It's not the same, was his retort. I said, wait a minute. Give it some thought. People died while fighting for their land, protecting it from a foreign hand. Make no mistake, there was a war that had been fought on these very shores. A war that didn't always discriminate whether elderly or infants could meet the same fate as those who fought to protect them so, and that's why we should never let go. Never forget what price was paid for us to live as we do today. He looked at me quite seriously, said he celebrates because we're free. He celebrates our democracy and everything great in this country. I said, that's fine, I get that, that's clear. Just please don't forget how we got here. Just take a moment to think it through, what price was paid for me and you to live in this country as we do. Don't take for granted the sacrifice both of land and of life. We need to remember all who died, not let their memories be swept aside. You got an apology, he said. It talked about loss, it mentioned the dead. What more do you want? He asked of me. And so I replied, in the hope he would see. We have a day for Australia, the Queen, for New Year's and Christmas and all those between, like Labour and Easter, the Anzac Parade, and just what the hell is Boxing Day? There's even a day that we have for the shows, but nothing that speaks of my people's woes. A national day to acknowledge the cause, to acknowledge all that has happened before, and I don't mean NAIDOC, I mean something more, where the whole nation stops, like it does for a horse. A day, is that too much to ask, to remind us don't ignore the past? He processed my words and looked at the ground. We both sat in silence. Then there was this sound, a sound that seemed like heaven to me. A sound of two words that said, I agree. We talked some more as the day came to end, and despite our differences, I'd made a new friend. He understood as the day came tonight that I needed some things in this country made right, and because I did not celebrate, it did not mean I was full of hate. Spins me out when people do that. Don't do that.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, honey. That's the best compliment someone could have. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Stephen. Happy whatever day. Peace out.
Oh, now you're like Whitney. I get
I
so
know.
emotional,
I knew I was
baby.
going to cry with you.
Oh,
Thank you.
no worries, hon.